Hi guys, welcome to another audio video interpreting Isaiah 9 of the King James Version Bible. And it reads, "Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation, when at the first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflicted her by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan in Galilee of the nations. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. Thou hast multiplied the nation, and not increased the joy. They joy before thee according to the joy of in harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. The Lord sent a word into Jacob, and it hath lighted upon Israel. And all the people shall know, even Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, that say in the pride and stoutness of heart, the bricks are fallen down, but we will build with hewn stones, and sycamores are cut down, but we will change them into cedars. Therefore the Lord shall set up the adversaries of Rezin against him, and join his enemies together, the Syrians before and the Philistines behind, and they shall devour Israel with open mouth. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. For the Lord turneth not unto him that smiteth them, neither do they seek the Lord of hosts. Therefore the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. The ancient and honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led by of them are destroyed. Therefore the Lord shall have no joy in their young men, neither shall have mercy on their fatherless and widows. For every one is an hypocrite and an evildoer, and every mouth speaketh folly. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. For wickedness burneth as the fire, it shall devour the briars and thorns, and shall kindle in the thickets of the forest, and they shall mount up like the lifting of the smoke. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the land darkened, and the people shall be as the fuel of the fire, no man shall spare his brother. And he shall snatch on the right hand, and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own harm. Manasseh Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh, and they together shall be against Judah. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still." Alright guys, so it continues where the Lord is warning them, and he's letting them know, look, a child is going to come, and he shall be called Marvelous. He should be called Counselor, the Prince of Peace, and he is the one that will deliver. He is the one that will basically rein in back the presence of God with his people. As we note, the Lord would not, it is said in the Bible that the Lord would not always, the Spirit of the Lord will not always strive with men. And we see here that there's no mercy for them at this point in time because they've turned away from God. They've forsaken his law. They've forsaken his precepts. And so he is allowing their enemies to overthrow them. He's allowing them to be given into bondage. He's allowing them to actually be in a time of want. He's not merciful to them right now because they are impotent children that need to be punished. And so he's allowing the punishment to take effect and standing back and saying, look, this just needs to happen because this is the purification that was basically foretold in earlier chapters. The purification needs to take place to weed out all those that do not love the Lord, all those that do not follow after the Lord, so that only his chosen will be left. And if we remember the figure that was placed on it, it was not a specific figure, but it was more so an apportionment, and that was actually a tenth. That was what would actually be left back. And so right here we see where it says that they would hunger, because not hunger literally in say they would need food, but they would hunger in that they would be seeking, they will always want, they will always be lacking, and no matter what they do, they'll continue to remain lacking, and they will not know what is taken from them. They will be lacking, and I don't think they'll come to the realization of what they're actually lacking. And so we know that they're lacking the presence of God. That is what they're lacking. We know that, but they do not know that. And the reason why they do not know that is because they've given over to basically their own ways, their evil ways. And so that's the reason why they do not recognize that they are missing the breath of life itself, which is God. And that is what they're hungering after. And they do not know it because they've so turned away from God that they're nowhere close to him anymore. And so that is the reason why he needs to ensure that the purification takes place. All right? So guys, I'm gonna leave that right there. Please remember to continue to walk in your salvation. And if you've not yet gained it, then seek it. There's no better time to begin than the present. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.